My heart was so full. This was my face the entire movie.
Everything that you have done. So I met Keisha through a filmmaker's Facebook page. And when she started out with the filmmaking competition, she had to really dig deep to come up with the story that ended up being the winning concept. Now we have to tell you guys, she was making sure her mommy was up writing. She was quiet when me and her mommy had meetings to talk about pre-production. She made sure mommy understood what I was saying, because sometimes mommy don't like to listen. Oh. Daddy knows, Maddox knows, and they had her back, is what I'm saying. So I want to present you with the rose for being mommy's rose.
How has being a part of this process sped up your journey? And talk a little bit about the mentorship and how, because we've seen you blossom like in a couple of weeks. So let's talk about that process and how you felt you grew and just the value of the mentoring and the process for you.
After maybe about the fourth encounter with Eunice, I realized that I prayed for her years ago. Because when you're when you want to get in the industry and you hear all these stories, and I was like, listen, I don't have time for people trying to take advantage of me or anything. And I just was like, God, surround me around good people who are going to look out for me, people who are going to really root for me and push me. This was years ago. Didn't even revisit the prayer, and I come across Eunice. And one day, I just was like, oh Lord, you what I prayed for. And then sometimes I just be like, well, what did I say? What did I really, this is a lot that I done prayed for. Yeah? Like, this is a lot. But it has been so valuable, just not on a writing level, but also on a personal level, having to learn that I have to operate differently now. That this is definitely a new space. I don't care what time it is. If I have a question, I'm going to ask Eunice. I'm going to text her.
And I answer.
And sometimes I have to hit her up on Facebook and text and be like, I know you.
She doesn't have to. She
like, I see that it's green on Facebook. This was a serious question.
She stalks me.
But, I mean, you can't put a price tag on that. And like she said, like a lot of competitions that I was rooting for, and giving God the silent treatment for a good 5 minutes that I didn't get into because I wanted the money. Like, I have no clue what I would have done with the money. Like, I'd have been like, okay, so now what? You just can't put a price tag on this. And I was like, listen, sis. I was like, I already put you in my Emmy speech. Right after like my husband, thank God, my parents, I was like, yo, you really in the Emmy speech, and she thinks I'm crazy. But it's true. Like you can't put a price on this mentorship, in this whole mentoring program, and even in the program, like Eunice was like, y'all can hit me up. Like you can hit me up, and like after we were done, she would still stay up till like 2:30
all night
to ask our questions. Now most of them were for me, but she would always, because I ask a lot, she always would definitely make herself will always make herself available. So that stuff is invaluable.
So your directing debut.
That was everything. The weird thing about me is I started off acting, and I'm not gonna say I stopped acting. But I always felt like I could direct, but I never directed. And, I can't say, give me a chance to direct. It's in my heart. I feel like I can do it. But I never did it, though, before. But I loved it. And when I had my session with Silas, and he was telling me about the different shots and the things that you look for, I got really geeked out. I was like, oh, this is so dope. And my husband would say, watching television, I'd be like, yeah, they was cheating the camera on that. Because the way they did that shot, and then you notice how, and it's like I have to be mindful to be quiet because I look at things differently. But I mean, I love, yes, the director life, I really like it. One of my biggest things to see when I watch a television show is that when it's over with, like when I saw When They See Us and Ava DuVernay directed it, once it was over with, the first thing you saw was her name was directed, and that's so powerful for me. And that was something that I always wanted to see, and so I almost cried when I saw my name up there. And I did take a picture of it, but yeah, I love it, and I definitely look forward to more directing. Shout out to my husband who did my storyboards. If you don't know what that is, you'll find out at one point of your journey, where you literally draw out all the angles, and my stick figures was on point. And they really portrayed how I wanted the scene set up. But my husband was like, "Nah, we're not doing this. I did this in school."
Yeah, Reese was the MVP.
Yeah,
sure.
and they was like, "These are great. We love these." Like they probably going to try to work with him. But thank you, dear, for doing those storyboards. And I've realized I can come up with a lot of good stuff, and people would say, "Oh, this is so good. This is so good," but it's not better and it's not best. And I knew good. What I created was good. And I think even my critiques are like, all you gotta do is just change it a little bit. I just was like, yeah, this is good. This isn't best.
It wasn't her best.
Yeah, and it wasn't mine. And I kept looking at the pictures of the cast because we had cast that we were able to choose, the actors, and I just kept looking at the pictures, and I was like, how can I tell this story? How can I tell this story? And I was looking at the two older actors, the male and female, and I was like, I don't know. I don't want to do husband and wife. Everybody does husband and wife. I don't want to do that. Well, how can I say they related? Maybe I can do two different nationalities. This Is Us did that. I can't do this, two different nationalities. So I really put the story together like that. As I say, I wrote this 3 a.m. And I really let it flow. And to be honest, I was on page 3 and was like, come on, this is only 3 pages? Because I knew